Hello, my name is Grey Deepy, and I am going to be playing through Final Fantasy XIV. Now, this is not my first time playing through. I have been playing through it for a long time, but it's been a while since I've seen this opening movie, so we'll start off with that.
Heidelin.
I watched this just a few minutes ago, actually.
Planet blessed by the light of the crystal.
Other than that, it had been a long time since I've seen it.
Azure seas, encompassing the westernmost of the three great continents.
Just kind of giving us a background.
A realm embraced by gods and forged by heroes. Her name, Eorzea.
The visuals in this is
The
stunning.
annals of Eorzean history chart the rise of a succession of great civilizations.
And I think
one enjoying an age of peace, the astral eras.
I think some of this could be from
To
1.0.
date, all have proven ephemeral.
I could be wrong.
In the year 1572 of the sixth and most recent astral era, the Northern Empire of Garlemald amassed a great army at the heart of Eorzea, seeking dominion over all. Rising in desperate resistance, the forces of the Eorzean alliance met their would-be conquerors in the field. Yet, even as the battle raged, the lesser moon, Galamond, was plucked from the heavens through imperial machination. From its core emerged the elder primal Bahamut, who unleashed his fury upon the
So
realm.
cool. I love the fairy destruction there.
The devastation brought Eorzea to its knees and the era to its end.
There's something about the animation here that's completely different from all of the other cinematics.
5 years have come and gone. The light of life still shines upon Eorzea. Man labors tirelessly to raise himself from the calamity's ruin. The realm is forever changed.
Odin.
A stranger to him once more.
Behemoth.
Yet heedless of what lies
These
ahead,
guys look familiar
he
for anybody
shall
who's
press
done
on.
Shadowbringers.
Spurred by the promise of peace and prosperity. Amid this period of great change, an adventurer arrives in Eorzea.
It just, I
One whose
love how
tale
pretty
is
this
yet
graphic is here.
unwritten.
That's somebody that does 3D modeling and stuff. Like, I really appreciate a lot of the things in this game.
May he ever walk in the light of the crystal.
And as I go through my playthrough, you may hear me comment from time to time on the modeling and the texturing. All right, so if you ever want to see that, I'm pretty sure that this would be available even if you're on the free trial. But if you look under here where it says the movies and titles, you should have all of the movies and titles that you have open have access to. So we just watched the opening movie. There's also the Realm Reborn, I guess, trailer. This is one of my favorite songs in the game. I think. I don't hear the song. you can hear it now. Yeah, just like the fierce battle here. So warrior. Bard. Healer. Mage. Paladin. There's the Black Mage. There's Sid. I know all these characters because I've played this game a lot, so like it's kind of cool to see them in the cinematic. Limsa. There's the heroes. They're disappearing. And he smiles as if he knows something. Square Enix. I still love watching this. Riding the chocobos. I can only imagine what this would have been like seeing this way back when 1.0 or even 2.0 was coming out. Like when 2.0 come out, I mean this is like the what we were just watching was what they saw at the end of 2.0. cocky as ever. There's Odin. Okay, I think a lot of the rest of this is very similar to what we were just watching, to the opening movie. Just slightly, you hear more of the soundtrack instead of the voiceover in this one. They look confused. I gotta wonder. I don't think that would work with the gloved hand. I could be wrong on that. Okay. But yeah, it just... I think the only difference between the opening movie and this... I mean, there's a few extra little scenes that they throw in there. For the opening movie versus the cinematic, the main thing is the voiceover and stuff like that. All right, so if you were going to create a character, you would just click on Start, or you could choose Data Center if you wanted to choose a specific data center. We have 4 main regions now. As of 2023. There are 4 main regions. So you have North America, European, Japanese, and Oceania. And in prior years, if you watch some of the old tutorials, they may tell you that you could not travel between worlds, or you couldn't travel between data centers. That is actually something that has been available not quite a year, but almost a year now. So you can travel between any data center. The only thing that you have to do is, if you want to be able to play with a particular person, a particular friend, the only thing that you need to do is make sure that you create a character on the same region. Because, like, you can always travel from, like, say you create a character on Aether, you can always create a character on, you can always visit a character who is on Dynamis or Primal. For example. Now, you can't attend a wedding, and there's certain other restrictions whenever you're going between data centers, but you can do that now. We've had for a while to be able to travel within the data center, to be able to travel from one world to another world, but something that's a little bit more recent is the ability to travel. Like, say, if I have a character on Fairy, I can play with the character who is on Coerl, for example. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah, and that's a relatively recent addition. That's not to say, like, in about 2 or 3 years, we might even have the ability to travel to any data center, to another data center, even to another data center region. But as of right now, we have 4 North American data centers. We have Aether, Crystal, Dynamis, Primal. We have the European data centers. We have Chaos and Light. For the Japanese data centers, we have Elemental, Gaia, Mana, and Meteor. And then currently there's just one data center for Oceania. It may be a while. I don't think that this one is going to get a second one for a while, because I don't think this one is anywhere near capacity compared to some of the other ones. But that's not to say that there won't be an additional Oceania data center at some point in the future, if enough people continue playing and are active in that region. But yeah, you can pick a world. You know, like which world you choose is completely up to you. If you're not playing with anybody in particular, it's completely up to you. Whatever you like the sound of. One thing to be aware of. One thing you gotta be aware of is your ping, and basically, like the ping is like how much of a delay there would be between you trying to do something and you actually doing it. And if you were playing in a quote-unquote local region, so like if you're in the United States and you play on a North America data center, that's gonna be your best ping. That's not to say that you can't play on a data center such as Oceania or Japan. I have characters on every single data center. But just be aware, if you're playing a character on another data center, particularly in some of the harder, most recent content, there could be a bit of a lag between whenever you're trying to do an attack and whenever it actually goes off. Same thing with the enemy attacks. So if you see a marker go down, you think you move out of it in time, but if you are on a server if you have a high ping between you and your server, you might actually not get out of it fast enough. So just one of those things to be aware of if you're going to play with friends who are in a region other than what yours is. I'm going to choose Cyrstal for this particular character that I'm going to create. And you can see I already have several characters on this data center already. One that I stream a lot on Twitch whenever I do stream on Twitch is this one right here, whose name is Grey Deepy, but I'm going to make one on Coerl here. I already have one on Coerl. This one is Yarnik. But for the purposes of stuff I'm going to put up on YouTube, I'm actually going to create a new character. Now, whenever you're creating a new character, you can come over here and you can choose Hyur, you can choose male and female. You notice the only one that doesn't have a female version is Hrothgar. That's because we do not currently, as of January 2023, we do not have female Hrothgar. We have been told that we will be getting female Hrothgar. Our best guess is that we will get it with 7.0, so probably in 2024. And so that will be next year. That's when I think we will probably get female Hrothgar. They originally weren't going to do female Hrothgar or male Viera, but then there was such demand for those races that they decided to implement them. If you are on the base game or the free trial, you probably only have access to Hyur, Elezen, Lalafell, Mikote, Rogadin, Aura. I think those are the only ones that you have access to. You have to have Shadowbringers in order to have Hrothgar and the female Viera, and I think you have to have the female Viera, and then I think you have to have Endwalker in order to have the female Viera. So as long as you have the expansions that those come in, you should be good. I could be. I know at one time Aura you had to have Stormblood, but I think that has changed and that you can get that if you have the base game now. But I could be wrong on that. I have access to all of them because I have the full game. So I basically like the character, what race you choose for your character really has very little bearing on the game. So you can choose whatever you want to play. So you can play Hyur. Hyur is basically like human. Ellison is kind of like Tolkien-esque elves. Then you have the Lalafels. These are you see, like, you got the elves with the little ears and stuff like that. They tend to be a little bit taller. Then you have like Lalafels. Lalafels are the shortest race of the Eorzea. Then we have the Mikote, which is kind of like a cat boy. This is more like the I forget how to say that every single time. Basically, like, it's more it's the type of furry that is more human with animal features. And I'll in a minute I'll show you why I make that distinction. Then we have the Rogadin. Basically, imagine the Rogadins as like bodybuilders, because that's what they look like. Then we got the Auras, which are kind of like dragon people. And Mikotes and Auras have tails. Then we have the Hrothgar. The Hrothgar are it's also a furry, kind of like the Mikote. The difference here is that they're more of the animalistic with the humanoid stance and posing. So there's a little bit more of the animal features in here. You can tell that in the shape of the head and everything. And then we have the Viera, which are kind of like the rabbit people. One thing to be aware of, Hrothgar and Viera are limited on what they can wear as far as headgear. There is a lot of there with a lot of the newer headpieces and stuff like that. I think they are trying to make an effort to make those available for Hrothgar and Viera, but for a lot of the older gear, Hrothgar and Viera are basically like, they can wear masks and they can wear glasses and ribbons, and outside of that there's really not a lot they can wear. So just be aware of that if you choose that as your race. And again, there's male and female for each race. Within each one of these, when you go into them, there's two different clans. So for the Viera, we have the Rava and the Vina. If we were to go to Hyur, we have Midlander and Highlander. For the Ellison, we have Wildwood and Duskwhite. For the Lalafell, we have the Dunes folk and the Plains folk. For the Mikote, we have the Mikote. We have the Seekers of the Sun and the Keepers of the Moon. Basically, you can think of each one of these as a light and a dark. And like, a lot of which one you choose is gonna, there's some minor differences between the different clans. But for the most part, like, they're gonna be very similar. They're gonna have very similar options. We got the Sea Wolves and the Hell's Guard for the Rogadins. For the Auras, we have the Zale and the Rena. The Zayla and the Rain and Zayla, I think that's right. For the Hrothgar, we have the Helions and the Lost. And then for the Viera, we have the Rava and the Vina, which I think we already said that. Once you choose it, again, whatever you choose, it doesn't matter. As far as stats in the game, it's not going to affect your gameplay one way or another. So just choose one that you like the look of. And then once you get into the character creation process, there's all kinds of things that you can change. So like you got height, face, skin color, hairstyle, hair color, jaw, eye shape, iris size, eye color, eyebrows, nose, mouth, lip, ear shape, so like some are going to be specific to that particular race. For example, ear length and ear shape is not something you're going to see on every class. It's something that you will see on Vieras. You may see that on Mikotes, and you may see that on Elizans. I forget if you see it on the Mikotes, but I think you do. And like, you know, just like some of the, you know, like the facial features, like I said, some of these options and even some of the options that you have within, you know, so like whenever you see the facial features, you might have facial features on different races, but then like the facial features that you have, the facial feature options that you have may be dependent on the race that you're doing. So like if you're doing Viera, for instance, it's going to look different than the facial features that you would get for Mikote. And then we have tattoos. Again, it's a thing that's going to be very dependent on what class you are, or what, not class, but what race you are. And then you can choose the color of your tattoos. You also have face paint. So like the face paint would be like your, in some cases would be like makeup, or it would be straight up like a tattoo. Let's see if I take that off. If we go over face paint. So like you can think of face paint as either like makeup or an additional tattoo. So like you get like, you know, war paint, or you can do like a half face. And like some of these you can reverse. So if you want the face paint to be on the other side. And then you'll have be able to choose your voice, and you know, you can see the different emotes and stuff that particular voice would do. You can see the different poses that they can do. You can see this in different environments and stuff like that. So you got this one right here, Lanasian, and then you have Gradanian, and then you have Uldan, and then you got inside the room, and then you got the ethereal background. So you can look at these however you want to do it, and you can create them however you want. You can see what your race would look like in their race clothes. If you were looking at this when you're creating a like if you were doing this, if you were changing a character or something like that, you've already started and stuff like that, so you've already chosen your job and everything. So like you're using like a Fantasia, and you get the access to the screen. One of the things you would have an option to is see what you would look like in your job gear, and then you can see what you look like in small clothes, which is basically like if you weren't wearing anything at all. And you got race, you got standing, unique, and then all that sort of stuff. I'm going to cancel out of this for the moment because I'm going to create a new character based off of one that I've already saved. So once you have your character the way that you want, you can save your appearance. Now I've got a bunch of different characters, and you see I only have a few save slots. That's because I've archived a bunch of the ones that I had. I figured out I figured out what data was saving for this right here, so that I could see the important stuff like that. So like I wanted to be able to save these. I have so many different looks that I've made for characters over the years. I wanted to make room to add some more, and I wanted to save the ones that I had previously done so that I didn't lose them. And so like I've figured out how where it stored that information so that I can save it into another file or another location so that I can maintain that if I want to. So like I didn't change anything about the game. All I did was just move the location of a couple of files so that I can have access to them. If I decide I want to bring one of those files back, I can always bring one of them back. One of the ones that I have created is this character right here. It is a male Viera. He's got gray hair and all that sort of stuff. He's on the short side for a Viera. I just was trying to kind of make him look sort of like me, I guess. Not really, but I guess sort of. I don't know. I like the look of this character, so like I was trying to do it. I actually play a lot of female characters, but I do have some. I have one of every race and one of every gender. So, see, this is what it looks like whenever you're trying to save. I'm not going to save one because I already have, but see, like that's the one that I'm doing right now. But you can save it if you want to. I don't need to save appearance. Then you can choose your character's date of birth. One of the cool things, and this is something I didn't realize until relatively recently. Okay, I think they're just playing. Is if you look down here, it will tell you, it will give you this is like the Eorzean calendar here. So you got the first astral moon, first umbral, second astral, second umbral, all that sort of stuff, right? So like, and you see like there's 32 days on each one. I think so, yeah, 32 days on each one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do they all have 32? That's something I've never looked to see. So it looks like the Eorzean year is longer than the than our year. Yeah, but one of the things that's really cool is, like, say you wanted to have your character on. Say that you wanted to have your character's birthday be May 5th. So you would just find the one probably around here. So right here would be May, and then if we look here, 5th. Yep. So sometimes like you'll see like a particular day might have like looking, you might see like there's two different. See, like right here. So you got the 29th and the 30th. Both of those are coming to May to 5/29, right? So the May 5th or May 29th. So if you wanted, you could use either one of those dates and be the equivalent of May 29th. Or you could choose, you know, like May 5th, and so like this would be the Eorzean equivalent of May the 5th. For that reason, I'm going to come over here and let's see. Today I'm recording this on Saturday, January the 7th. So let's choose 1/7. So we're going to go first astral moon, the 7th day of the month. Now, again, what you choose here is not going to affect any of your gameplay whatsoever. Or if it does affect your gameplay, it's so minuscule that it only affects it like maybe for an hour or two, if that. Okay, so we're going to create this. And then you get to choose your deity. Again, this is something that is not going to affect hardly any of your playthrough. But you can look through these. We've got Menfina, we got Halone, Menfina, Thaliak, Namia, Limelane, Oshan, Brygot, Ralger, Azema, Naldal, Nafika, and Althik. You can choose whichever one you want. It really will not make a difference in anything beyond a little bit at the very beginning. So just choose whichever one you think is cool, whichever one you like. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Yeah, because he's a traveler. Yeah, I'm like that one. Okay. This is where we really get interesting. So at the start of the game, these are the classes that you have access to. You have Gladiator, which will become a paladin, Pugilist, which will become a monk, Marauder, which will become a warrior, Lancer, which will become dragoon, Archer, which will become a bard. Those are your Disciples of War. And you also have 3 options here under Disciple of Magic. We have Conjurer, which will become White Mage, Thaumaturge, which becomes Black Mage, and Arcanist, which has which is our dual class. It has the dual job of Summoner and Scholar. This one's a special case. It's the only one that splits into 2 classes that share information. So that's kind of a cool thing. If you want to be able to run either DPS or healer, this is a good one to go with because you get the ability to do both with the same class. The only thing is that you have to do the class quest for both, and they have separate gear requirements. So like if you're trying to get the it may take you longer to get the gear for this one because you're trying to get it for 2 classes instead of just 1. Again, which one you choose is completely up to you. There's other classes that you can pick up later in the game as well. And it really does not matter which one you choose because all of them are completely valid and viable to play in Walker content, even in raid content, even in some of the high-end, high-level content. All of them should be viable to play. There's 2 things that this decision that you make right here will affect. The first thing that it will affect, besides the fact that you choose either Disciple of War or Disciple of Magic, within those groups, there are 3 main roles that you can play in Final Fantasy XIV. You can play a tank, a DPS, or a healer. Of these that you have available at the beginning, the only one that is a healer is Conjurer. However, Arcanist has that split into Scholar and Summoner, and that does give you the option to be able to have a DPS and a healer once you get to that level. But at the start of the game, the only one that is a pure healer is Conjurer. Now, of the other classes that you have available, we have Gladiator and Marauder are the 2 tanks that you can start the game with. Everything else will be a DPS. Pugilist and Lancer will be melee. Archer will be a ranged physical DPS, and then we have Thaumaturge and Arcanist as range mage DPS. That's the first thing that it's going to affect. The other thing that it will affect, if you look over here in the lower right hand corner, you can see whenever you have one selected, it changes depending on what you have selected. So like if I were to choose Conjurer, I'm going to start in Gridania. If I choose Thaumaturge, I'm going to start in Ul'dah. If I start as an Arcanist, I'm going to start in Limsa Lominsa. So the other thing that will affect your gameplay is which one of these you start in. That's only going to affect your first 15 MSQ levels. That's not saying your first 15 quests, but until you get to, there's a particular quest that you will get to somewhere around your MSQ level 15, that where everything will converge after that point. And it doesn't matter which one of these areas you start in. Once you know whichever one of these areas you start in, there is a point where everything basically merges down to one point. This is one of the reasons why I say it is worth doing at least a couple of alts, so that you can see, you can choose one of these starting points and then go back and do that bit until they converge from each of the different areas, because each of the areas has their own lore and story and history to it. The stories are parallel. There are a lot of commonalities between the different stories. There's a lot of things that happen at relatively the same point in each one of these storylines, but you do get a different story start of the story until you get to explore the bigger world. You do get a lot of the same. You do get a different story depending on which one of these you start in. I'm going to start this character. I have done all of these multiple times. I'm going to start this character in Gridania. I'm going to start this character as, you know what? I'm going to go. Archer, just because like I want to do something a little different. I do have an Archer that's in Walker content, but I just want to do something different. All right, so we're gonna press OK, and we have selected Coerl as our. It says that I've selected Coerl as my starting world. I actually do want to start on Coerl. But if you wanted to start on a different world, you can try and see if you could start on one of these other worlds. I'm going to tell it yes. And then you get to put in your character's name. Now, there's this nice little character generator here where you can try to randomly generate a character name. If you're on a data center that has been around for a while, the odds are going to be pretty high that one of these names may already be taken. Even as many combinations as there are, the names here could very well be taken. Or you can create your own name, and it doesn't matter how you come up with your own name. I'm going to name this one after my channel name, Grey for the first name, Deepy as the last name. So this character's name is going to be Grey Deepy. We're going to click confirm. It's going to check, make sure that that name is available. It is. So we're going to begin a new game with this character. And now we're going to wait for Q. This queue shouldn't take too long. When Endwalker dropped a year ago, just over a year ago, we had insanely high queue times. You would get into a queue and it would take you an hour just to get logged in. And that's assuming you didn't get dropped from the queue and had to start all over again. It took a while, but it did eventually get better. That's another reason why it can be advantageous to have characters on different worlds, because what I was able to do, because I had multiple characters, I was able to play on JP when NA was at peak. I was able to get right in on JP when NA was at peak, so I could play on another character in a different world without any problems. Here we are floating, and then we come to a stand.
Here.
And we start hearing a voice. Where am I?
Here. Feel.
This is where you're going to see what you look like in your race gear. I'm sorry, in your your job gear. So whatever job you choose, for Arcanist, it will show you the summoner gear. For that cutscene. Well, that's kind of a cool. And we fade to black. Oi! Now this is where it starts to diverge, depending on what area you're in. This is the Gridania start here. So, y'all right, lad? You were moaning in your sleep and sweating buckets besides. That'll be the ether, I reckon. Some are more prone to the sickness than others. No need to fret, though. You'll soon get used to it. Drink some of his wine. And then we hear trumpets. What are those trumpets? Hey! Cute little flying fur balls. Feeling better, Kupo? Aha, you can see us. I had a feeling you could. We are Moogles and we live in this wood. Watch this Moogle over here. He gets excited. Normal folk can't see or hear us, which makes you special, Kupo. I wonder if these two could see him. They're not acting as if they can't, but I wonder if they could see him. And seeing how's you're special, maybe you can tell us something. The wood's been restless of late. Lots of strange things happening. Have you chanced to witness anything suspicious, Kupo? But of course you haven't. You've only just arrived. Well, there's nothing for it then. We'll just have to keep looking. Nice to meet you, Kupo. Notice that the Moogle just drank the bottle of wine. And then they go flying off. And they join some more Moogles. Thirsty man goes to take a drink. What? Where's my wine? Gridania's still a fair way off, in case you're wondering. Seeing as you're awake, how about you keep me company till we get there? Them youngins don't care much for conversation, see? Bremen's the name, and peddlin's me trade. As for your good self, judging by your unusual garments, I'd say you were one of them new adventures. Am I warm? I knew it. Going where the wind blows, seeking fortune and glory. Now that's what I call living. So long as you can avoid dying, I mean. Ain't no secret that adventuring's a risky business these days, especially. What was it that first attracted you to it? Say, to gain power, to gain glory, or to amass a fortune? Let's amass a fortune. So pretty here. That's one of the reasons. This is one of my favorite starting areas, actually. Fortune, eh? This is actually the first one I started in. My first ever character. Well, it's a dream we've all had at one time or another. Once you've learned to handle yourself in a fight, you'll want to pay a visit to whichever crafting or gathering guild tickles your fancy. Gridania is renowned for its leatherworkers and carpenters, not to mention its botanists. Adventuring ain't just about killing things after all. Peaceful pastime may well help you make your fortune. Just remember though, there's more important things than fortune and glory, such as breathing. Ain't no profit in being dead, and that's a fact. Halt! Go no further. What's this then? Ah! What's going on? A skirmish has broken out up ahead with the Ixal. For your own safety, you must remain here until... Bloody hells. We shall hold them here. Try to break clear. That was too bleeding close. Nice of the Ixal to send us a welcome party, though, eh? Joking aside, this won't be the last time you meet those feathered fiends. So just you take care, all right? By the by, is this your first trip to Gridania? Yes, no. Okay, I've been to Gridania before, but let's just say yes. Is it? It is? Well then let this journeyed itinerant tell you the ins and outs of your destination. The city of Gridania lies slap bang in the middle of the Black Shroud, the biggest lush forest in all of Eorzea. Though it ain't near as lush as it used to be, saying that, not since the calamity laid half of it to waste. The destruction prompted a herd of new nasties to move in and gave the Ixal unneeded encouragement. The Birdman raids have become a daily occurrence. Ah, at long last, behold Gridania, the forest nation blessed by the elementals.
The Black Shroud, the ancient forest, close to the heart of Eorzea. Beneath the boughs of its towering trees lies the woodland city-state of Gridania. Once a sanctuary from the world beyond the hedge, even the mighty elementals, eternal guardians of the forest, could not forestall the coming of the 7th Umbral Era.
Ominous.
However, the goddess Nofika was never one to forsake her children, and today she welcomes another brave soul. One who may yet play a telling role in the tale of this great realm.
And here's where we part ways, son. I'm off to the markets to deliver me wares. Then it's back to the high road for me. Here, I want you to have this by way of thanks for keeping me company. Those two twins that just walked off screen, we'll be seeing them again. Hey, you never did tell me your name, did you? Well, here's an idea. Become the sort of storied personage I can brag about having met, and I'll call a square. I think we might can manage that.
Take him to her bosom, that he may never want. And in his heart, sow serenity, purity, and sanctity.
Final Fantasy XIV. Here we are, we're walking into Gridania for the first time. One thing that always cracks me up about this particular expansion is how slow and stately everybody tries to walk. You there. Yes, you. Your face is not known to me. Newly come to the city, no doubt. I am Bertinant, the wood whaler of Gridania. It is my duty to protect our nation from her enemies while welcoming those who may yet prove her friends. Let us see what you are. Welcome to Gridania, a vibrant forest nation cradled in the bosom of nature. Please select the control scheme you wish to use. And we're going to choose mouse and keyboard, follow the instructions of the camera, and adjust the... when you're ready to proceed, talk to Bertinant. Okay, we're going to tell it no. We're going to close that down. And that right there is where we're going to leave off with this first video. I hope you would follow along with me as I do my playthroughs. That I'm going to be posting here onto YouTube. I'm going to be making some comments on things that I find helpful, especially when starting a character. I have started a number of characters, and so I have a lot of characters. I've played through, especially A Realm Reborn, a lot of times. I really enjoy this game, and so I spend a lot of time in it. And my plan is to share my tips and tricks for starting a character, and also, like, as we go forward, eventually I plan on taking I would eventually like to start. One of the things I'm really bad about doing is taking what I've done and start editing it. I have ideas for videos that I want to do, but I am really bad about sitting down and doing the editing for those videos and figuring out what it is that I want to say. But yeah, that is something that I want to do. And you know, I want to share my experiences in this game, things that I find have things that I've learned that have helped me, that I think can help other people too. So yeah, we're going to end this particular video right here. And I'm going to get this one posted, but there will be, I'm actually probably going to continue playing for a little bit longer, but I'm going to record that as a part of the next video. So feel free to like and subscribe if you want to, and we will see you in the next video.